Hey folks, here we are again with RPG Maker VX Ace, and we're going to talk about encountering enemies in our map. I've created a small map, and our player character Eric, the soldier, is going to come from this lower corner. I've set his beginning position in the database, if you recall, under systems, starting position there. I've also changed the theme music, and I've lowered its volume because I found the volume here for default was way too high. And what else did I do? I also changed the title screen to a graphic that was more related to the game itself. And I named the game Eric Meets Brenda, and Brenda is an archer and Eric is a soldier. And no, it's not a love story. But anyways, I've changed all that already. Oh, and the other thing I did is I made it so that Eric can't walk through the forests, and he already couldn't walk through the mountains. So he's basically going to stay on this grass pathway here. Figure he'll meet Brenda up here somewhere. And in the meantime, he's going to have some enemy encounters in here. And in order to do that, we're going to learn about a new mode. We've learned about mapping mode. We've learned about event mode. Now we're going to learn about region mode. And what we're going to do with region mode is we're going to say on the map areas where an encounter can happen. So Eric is going to come up here, and he can encounter some slime in here. Anywhere in here he encounters slime. That's what I'm going to say. And I'm calling it slime because if you remember... Oh, let's talk about this. Say you've got your region area mapped out here and you don't like it, you just come in here and grab none again and get rid of it, right? But we'll just leave it in that big area. And I could have other regions, like I could have regions for a different type of encounter or a different type of event, right? I'm not going to. I'm just going to try to do this enemy encounter for illustrative purposes. So I'm going to leave this area as the region in which he's going to have an encounter with his first enemy. And if we go to tools, you remember your enemies are all of these, and these are listed from the weakest to the strongest enemy. And you can tweak all of your settings for your enemies, but I'm leaving all of them as defaults right now. I'm not changing anything up. And you're not going to pick your enemy here. Just remember that enemies are in this list from weakest to strongest. So if you're just starting your character out, you might want him to be fighting the weakest to build up his confidence and get some experience points. And you don't actually encounter slime by itself. It has to be in a troop. And so there's some default troops. All the different enemies that you had are now ×2. So that's a troop essentially, right? But there's nothing saying you can't add another slime in here. You know, just because it says ×2 doesn't mean... In fact, I could just say this could be... a slime herd or something. I could rename this. I'm not going to have 3 slime though. I'm just going to have the 2 slime. I could also combine. I could make it, a weird encounter where there's lots of different skills coming at him, right? Of the weaker slime. But I'm not going to do that either. I'm just keeping this really simple. And do I need to have 2 slime? No, I don't have to have 2 slime. I can remove one of the slime. But that means I have to find something else to replace it, right? Because it has to have more than one enemy to be a troop. So I'm going to just add that slime back in. We're going to leave it at that. One other thing I should do, I'm just going to grab a 3rd slime. Maybe a 4th slime. Okay, and if I arrange what happens here, nothing. But if I was to actually move these guys about, you know what, because I think you can do that as well, right? And then if I hit arrange, it'll arrange them into default position. But I'm going to just remove. He's not going to hit all these slime or encounter all these slime. He's just going to have 2. That's the only troop he's going to hit is slime ×2, and I'm not going to change his name for illustrative purposes. I'm just going to say apply, and I'm going to say okay. Now, I have not created the encounter at all. That didn't do anything for me other than show me what kind of troop I can encounter. if I had done all that, thrown the hornet in there and the spider in there, I would have renamed this a different troop name and said okay, apply an okay, and I could have been then used that troop in a different way of getting the troop to go into this region. Now we're going to learn that part. So because I didn't change any of the defaults, I didn't even need to go into the database. I'm going to go into map properties, and I'm going to come over here to where it says encounter, highlight the first line, and I'm going to say edit, and I'm going to say it's already defaulting to slime. That's the troop that I want him to encounter, and I don't want him to encounter the slime anywhere on the map. I want him to encounter the slime in a specific region by a region number, and my number was 1 if you recall. So I'm going to say, I'll change the weight of this too. This changes the I can't just go like that. This changes the like it's kind of like your troop. Like if you have 2 in your troop and you have 2 slime times 10. It's not a percent chance. It just changes the possibility of encountering the slime. So you can change this, like you have the ability to change this to whatever you want, 70, whatever. The weight, you can change it to whatever you want. The default is 10. I'm just going to leave it like that and see what happens. Say OK. Now down here at the bottom, it's the steps Eric has to take on average before he encounters anything. I'm going to lower that because my map is really small. So then I'm going to say OK. Oh, no, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to specify the battle back. Now, remember, we're in a forest with grassland. So I am going to choose grassland for my battle back. Remember, battle back stands for battle background. There's grassland right there. So there's my battle background. And I'm going to put a forest behind that. And that's how what's this? Oh, nice. I'm going to leave it like that. I like the darker grass. Go okay. And that's pretty much it. So how I set up the encounter was here. I didn't have to go in the database. I just came in here and I picked, right? So, and then I picked a battle background. Yeah. I'm not going to change anything else here. I'm just going to let that rip. I did change this average steps because it's a small map from the default. And let's play test this and see what happens. So you can hear that music's much lower now. So much more tolerable. So here's Eric at the bottom of the screen. And he's going to walk up through that region, and hopefully he'll encounter a... went the wrong way. Oh, he does. Now you see what I meant about, the number of steps. He didn't have that many steps to make, right? Like, there was a possibility he could have got through that area without having a battle or an encounter. But in this case, he had an encounter. So here we are, the background we specified. It looks realistic to the map. Like he's not fighting in a desert when he's in a forest, right? The battleground is perfect. It says slime emerged. Ooh. And he's got 2 choices. Eric can fight or escape, and that's just the arrow keys. And if he escapes, he just runs away. If he fights, he's going to do battle with these 2 slime enemies. And then over here, you'll see there's Eric's stats, his statistics. Now, if he engages in a fight, the slime are going to attack him, and it's a turn-based attack. And we're going to attack. So he gets to choose to attack slime A or slime B. He's going to choose slime A. Yeah, there was no surprise there. Eric was going to beat those guys regardless because he's a lot stronger than slime. Hit enter to come out of there. Now, I wanted to mention something. I was hitting the enter key at a slower pace because I wanted you to be able to read all the messaging there. RPG Maker allows you to change that messaging too. That's not what this tutorial is about though. So we'll leave the video at that and we'll go to the next tutorial.